Welcome. We are pondering over post-doctoral programs, the blissful, virtuous format of Braham Udgith. We are exploring the ways we can be parallel with the flow of Jyoti from orb of the sun, transcending through Akash and reaching core of the earth. This exploration program, this chase attempt gives us a blissful exposure to the possible way we can have this program of practical appreciative results. For it, today we will be pondering over, we will be face to face with the feature of this chase designated as creative transcendental. We know that Vedic systems are approaching the existence phenomenon along the creator's space format. The creator's space format is the real four-space format. This is the format of fourfold manifestation. The creations of this format are fourfold manifestation layers. However, the beautiful feature of this creative format is that it is transcendental in feature. It is this transcendental feature of creative format which is a subject matter of appreciation today. The central focus point of attraction for today's pondering is the transcendental feature of the creative manifestations, the existence of phenomenon of our solar universe within and without frames, including within human frame, is being chased by Vedic systems as fourfold manifested creations. It is the fourth fold of this fourfold manifested creation which brings in the transcendental feature. This transcendental feature of fourth fold is as it is the transcendental space, five space, which is playing the role of the origin of four space. Four space is presided by Lord Brahma, Creator the Supreme, a four-head Lord, having pair of eyes equipped in each head, and Lord Brahma sits gracefully and meditates within cavity of his own heart upon the seat, upon the transcendental seat of the transcendental Lord Shiva. And transcendental Lord bestows grace upon the Creator, and as a result thereof, Lord Brahma multiplies as 10 Brahmas. It is this grace bestowing feature of the transcendental Lord upon the Creator is the transcendental feature of the creative manifestations. Creative transcendental feature as such be taken as the feature of the transcendental origin of the Creator's space. Therefore, the initiation point of pondering focus of creative transcendental feature comes to be the interrelationship and the transition format of a reach from a 4 space to a 5 space, from fourfold manifestation layer to fivefold transcendental ranges is the reach of this transition. It is this transition which, as such, has a pair of foci, the pair of focal points, and these pair of focal points are hypercube of 4 and hypercube of 5 setups. The creative space means 4 space, and hypercube 4 is the representative or regular body of 4 space. So 4 space, the creator's space, has hypercube 4 as its representative regular body, and Lord Brahma is the presiding deity of the creator's space. At the other end reach point is hypercube 5, the representative regular body of a 5 space, the transcendental space presided by Lord Shiva. Therefore, to be parallel with the creative transcendental feature of the Vedic systems, we have to initiate with the format of hypercube 4, and we have to aim to reach at the hypercube 5 format of representative regular body of 5 space transcendental space presided by Lord Shiva. This initiation and this reach from the starting point of hypercube 4 to the end reach point of hypercube 5, in fact, is the happening within the creator's space itself. As hypercube 4 is a fourfold manifestation layer with the 2 space playing the role of a dimension. Likewise, hypercube 5 as well is a fourfold manifested creation, but here 3 space plays the role of a dimension. Therefore, the transition reach of the creative transcendental phenomenon, in fact, is the phenomenon of transition from 2 space playing the role of dimension to 3 space playing the role of a dimension. We can have a pause here and take note that the 2 space itself is having 3 space as its origin. Therefore, this transition of the creative transcendental feature, in fact, is the feature which takes us to 2 space itself for a reach at its 3 space as an origin. Therefore, the creative transcendental feature which takes from hypercube 4 format to hypercube 5 format within creator's space itself is a feature, is the phenomenon which deserves to be comprehended well in the context of fourfold manifested creations. This transition feature as well becomes of fourfolds. First step will be to have a parallel reach for transition from 2 space to 3 space as its origin. Then the next step would be from 3 space to 4 space as origin. The third step will be from 4 space to 5 space as origin. And lastly, the fourth step would be a reach from 4 space to 5 space as origin as a domain fold, and from 5 space to 6 space as the origin fold. Now, it is this 4x4, 16 steps setup of creative transcendental phenomenon which is playing its role. Therefore, the sadhakas fulfilled with the intensity of urge to be parallel with the Vedic systems shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to chase creative transcendental feature in terms of which there is a reach, there is a transition from the format of hypercube 4 to the format of hypercube 5, as hypercube 4 as well as hypercube 5 are fourfold manifestations layers. As such, there are four flow streams of transition. The first fold stream is from spatial order to a solid order, then it is from solid boundary to the creative boundary, then from creative domain to the creative order, and then ultimately it is of the transcendental origin to the self-referral base. This 4 plus 4, 16 steps reach as quadruple streams parallel to the fourfold manifestation format within creator's space is the path which is to be followed for its complete comprehension and full imbibing, to have a proper insight and to have appropriate enlightenment about this creative transcendental phenomenon. For it, we have to be parallel with the enlightenment values preserved in the Vedic literature. The enlightenment features are the enlightenment path followed by Creator himself. Lord Brahma, Creator the Supreme, a four-headed Lord with a pair of eyes in his each head, sits comfortably on a lotus seat of 8 petals and meditates gracefully within cavity of his own heart at the seat of a transcendental Lord, and with the grace of transcendental Lord, a five-headed Lord with triple eyes in each head, having 10 beautiful arms, and meditating within cavity of his heart upon the seat of a self-referral Lord, bestows a grace upon the Creator, and as a result thereof, Lord Brahma, Creator the Supreme, multiplies as 10 Brahmas. It is this attainment, it is this transition, it is this transformation which deserves to be comprehended well. Once we are parallel with this phenomenon, once we are having the grace of imbibing of these features, then we will be parallel with the creative transcendental phenomenon, in terms of which, because of which, the Lord Brahma multiplies as 10 Brahmas. It is a reach of Lord Brahma, Creator the Supreme, the four-headed Lord, the presiding deity of real force space, transiting and transforming and having a reach as 10 Brahmas at the periphery of the Shivlok. 5 space with hypercube 5 as its representative regular body is having creative boundary. The creative boundary of 5 space is of 10 components. A raised to power 5 is to 10, B raised to power 4 is the domain boundary formulation which depict the expression of 10 creative boundary components enveloping the transcendental domain. Therefore, a reach from the creative fourfold setup manifestations format to fivefold transcendental ranges is a creative transcendental phenomenon. However, we shall be cautious that spatial order is the order of the creator's space. As it is a spatial order, as 2 space is playing the role of a dimension, as such within a surface, because of the availability of the pair of axes of the dimension, the it will bring in the simultaneous role of a single axis as well as a pair of axes. It is this simultaneous availability of the role of a single axis and a pair of axes which will bring in transition and transformation for one space from the role of one space as a domain to the role of one space as a boundary of a two space. It is this reach, it is this transition for one space from one space as a domain to one space as a boundary. There will happen a transition and transformation for a line into circumference. It is this transition from one space as a line interval to the circumference of a circle, which will bring in the simultaneous setup of dual orientations. It will be from the one end point of an interval to other end point of an interval, and in a reverse orientation from the second end point to the first end point. It is this reversal of orientation phenomenon. It is because of superimposition of the pair of orientations as a setup which will unfold its distinctive roles for its both orientations. And it is because of this unfolding and happening of pair of orientations simultaneously playing their role, and the same as such will bring us face to face with the phenomenon of as there being a format for transition and transformation from four space as a domain to four space as a boundary. There will be a reversal of orientation as well, where the transcendental domain will have a creative order. Four space as creative order is the role which will provide us transcendental creative phenomena. Therefore, sadhakas fulfilled with the intensity of urge to be parallel with Vedic systems shall sit comfortably and permit the transcending mind to have simultaneous comprehension of the twofold process. The first of the orientation of creative manifestation format transiting and transforming into a transcendental ranges format. And the second will be of a reverse orientation where the transcendental domain will be reaching the creative dimensional order for its origin. Six space as origin of a five space. Self-referral Lord Vishnu having a seat within the heart of the transcendental Lord Shiva. It is the creative order of the self-referral origin having a seat at the origin center of transcendental domain, and it is this phenomenon because of which we will be having a reverse orientation to the initial orientation from reaching from four space to five space, and the reverse orientation will be coming back from five space to four space. However, in this process, while we'll be along the orientation of reach for four space to five space, it would be of the features and of the format of four space as domain transiting and transforming into four space as a boundary. However, in the reverse orientation, when there would be a reach for the transcendental domain for creative order, it would be a reach of four space in the role of dimension of a six space as origin of a five space. It is this distinctive feature of the reversal orientation phenomenon, and it is for it that we will be face to face with the distinctive, wonderful attainment of the Vedic systems, which take us to transcendental creative setup of ardh nareshwar. It is this phenomenon, it is this reach, it is this attainment, it is this comprehension, it is this imbibing of the feature of ardh nareshwar, which will provide the needed enlightenment for the additional transcendental features for the intelligence field provided by the consciousness base. The consciousness base of the intelligence field enriches the intelligence field as of the order of the ardh nareshwar. The first zone of the brain and the second zone of the brain, though, are independent transcendental domains. However, at the same time, they are self-referral, they are synthesized, they are unifying, and they're making a self-referral transcendental phenomenon of a creative order within the intelligence. It is this intelligence field of this degree of consciousness and this degree of enrichment from the consciousness base which transits and transforms the intelligence field, firstly as of a creative domain, secondly as of the creative domain transiting and transforming for the role of a creative boundary, and at the next step that the creative domain from its reach at the creative boundary takes off for unifying the transcendental domain as a self-referral synthetic setup. It is this self-referral synthetic setup of the transcendental domain which provides and attains a transcendental creative order. It is this reach which is to be availed as the format for the doctoral programs for having a chase of flow of Jyoti from arm of a sun transcending within the space and reaching up till the core of the earth. It is this detailed program format which is to be imbibed. It is only with imbibing of these details that we will be ensuring the success of our doctoral programs of chase of a Jyoti flow from orb of the sun, transcending through space and reaching the core of the earth. For it, we may have a revisiting exercise as an exercise in terms of values of a reach from number 4 to number 5, which in the reverse orientation would take us to from number 5 to number 4. We can have a pause here and to take note that number 4 is the first composite number. We also know that 4 space is having 2 space in the role of a dimension. Therefore, it is this transition from the linear order 3 space to a spatial order 4 space which is to be imbibed well, and for one shall face oneself, one shall be face to face with the script form of the fourth vowel re. This letter with this script is also having a phonic sound frequencies base of raw E, of transcendental value 3 and of transcendental value 2, and the number 5 is the prime, and it is associated with the fifth vowel. The script form of the fifth vowel takes us to the sound frequencies format of law, raw, and E. It is this format which takes us to the parallel association of values, 5 for TC value of law, 3 for TC value of raw, and 4 for the TC value of E. It is this feature which will help us acquire proper insight and to have an appropriate enlightenment for a transition format features within creator's space itself of the format of hypercube 4 transiting and transforming into the format of hypercube 5 or along the fourfold manifestation format, and it is this transition phenomenon in terms of values, in terms of letters, in terms of script forms of the letters, in terms of the sound frequencies, the features as these are deserve to be comprehended well. One shall have a fresh visit to these script forms, and it would be blissful to take note that this script form as it is of this setup of a takeoff within a space, our space, a creative space, a force space will have a takeoff for sweeping of the face and reaching up till the transcendental origin. Creative space with 5 space and origin is to be reached, and the practical program of space explorations are to be of the format features of values 4 for its reach up till value 5, for fourth vowel for its reach up till the fifth vowel, the script form, the creative bodies form, and then we can see that this chase as it is in fact is going to be a chase to bridge the gap between the values 4 and 5. It is the challenge of bridging of the gap between the value 4 and value 5. It is the value 4.5 which is to be availed. How this value is ultimately taking us to the quadruple organizations for values 4, 4.5, and 5. And this fourfold tabulations as it is -4/8, 4/8, 12/8, and 20/8, we see that at the numerator we are having a sequential steps value 8 at each step. And also we know the formulation 8 whose simple rendering is 1 is having TC value 8. It is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well as to how the number value 4 is having fourfold manifestation organization parallel to the fourfold manifestation format provided by the creator's space. And a step ahead, the value 4.5 as well provides a fourfold manifestation organization, and here as well the numerator at each step is taking us to, leading us to the difference value 8, which is the TC value of formulation 1. But when we reach at value 5 and when we glimpse its fourfold organization, then here it is having a sequential increase of value 4, which is half. One may have a pause here, and one shall permit one's transcending mind to be face to face with this feature, as 4 is half of 8. How this reach in terms of such bridging is going to be in terms of a half unit. We know 4 space is a spatial order space, 2 space is playing the role of dimension of a 4 space, and 2 plus 2 equal to 2 multiplied by 2 equal to minus 2 multiplied by minus 2 is such a superimposition which brings in half as the working unit. It is this success of the Vedic mathematics, it is this attainment of the Vedic systems, and it is this insight which deserves to be imbibed fully. It is by having this insight, it is by having this degree of enlightenment, and it is for this state of intelligence field that we would be parallel with the Vedic systems of a chase of the creative space for a reach up till its transcendental origin. It is this reach, it is this attainment which is to be the guiding principle for all post-doctoral programs of chase, of flow of a jyoti from orb of a sun, transcending through the space and having a reach up till core of the earth. It is this reach, it is this phenomenon which will further bring us face to face with the blissful state of the split of a dimensional frame and transcendence at the origin. These are the two features which deserves to be comprehended well for having a practical success for such doctoral programs. Split of a dimensional frame and transcendence at the origin. As far as the split of dimensional frame is concerned, we know that in the corner, each corner of the origin of a cube, there is embodiment of a three-dimensional frame of half dimension. So, split of a dimensional frame is the feature. The second feature, transcendence at origin, is we know that origin is of higher dimensional order than that of the domain itself, and it is because of it that the origin, being of higher dimensional order, transits. It is the origin which in fact puts a seal upon the domain at its center, and because of it the domain as the space content lump manifesting and unifying as a unit permits it split into the pair of units, and when the 4 space with its 5 space as origin is at this phase and stage of transcendence at origin, It will lead to the transcendent spectrum 454 of value 13, and a step ahead, the transcendental origin, when we'll have a split. Its origin, 6 space, will lead to the transcendence phenomenon 565 of value 16, and beautifully 13 and 16 add up value 29. It is parallel to the organization of Ganita Sutras 16 in number and Ganita Sutras 13 in number. It further blissfully goes parallel with 29 as the TC value of Lord Brahma, Creator the Supreme. It is in this light that we can blissfully have a revisit for a transition and synthetic unification of the life phenomenon of human frame, when we will chase this life lively within the human frame, and when we will be face to face with the coordination of the fourth chakra and the fifth chakra, Hirde Gufa and Kantku of TC values 35 and 27, it will blissfully ensure us that Par Brahm 35 and Kantku 27, 27 nakshatras, the solid dimensional frame of half dimensions for the northern hemisphere as well as for the southern hemisphere. So, Hirde Gufa to Kantku, from heart to the throat, is the chase which will further ensure us the doctoral programs leading us to the practical benefits of such programs, as in terms of which we will be ensuring the fulfillment of all the requirements which are required for blissful lifespan for each one of us. Thank you very much.